Hi, fellow Americans. I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
Well, you read the title. It is not clickbait. This is not a joke. It's all trail. Yeah, Hasbro has kinda just given up. Now, people have been in a panic all over Twitter and all those places, all the Transformers websites, just, like panic. I got DM like 20 times by 20 different people, like telling me all about this and saying that it's Joe burn. Which, I mean, it kinda is, but at the same time, not really, because I feel like there's a lot of confusion and not a lot of people exactly know what's going on here. So I'm hoping that this video can serve to clarify some things and also tell you a bit more about the future of the Transformers movies, like where do we go from here. So first off, I think this pretty much does confirm that we're probably not gonna get a Transformers 2. They don't say it specifically, but this pretty much just kills our chances even more. As for the GI.Joe crossover, I think that's still in play. We haven't heard anything from Lorenzo or Paramount about it. As far as we know, this only applies to future projects, so anything that's not already in development probably won't, be affected by this. So that means that the GI.Joe crossover is quite possibly our last Transformers movie ever. Well, not ever, because I'm gonna go more about it in depth, but just to break down the news to you, Hasbro is no longer financing movies. It's got confirmed thanks to a Bloomberg article that after a big string of flops, which, I don't know what's up with Hasbro not knowing how to market well, Hasbro and Paramount, they don't know how to market movies. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons was actually a really good movie. I saw it a few months ago. I thought it was actually pretty good. And Transformers 1 is probably the most obvious example of an actually good movie with some terrible marketing. Now, what this means is that Hasbro is not going to stop making movies. It's just that they're not gonna finance movies anymore. Any future movies that they will do will be left to external studios to fund exclusively. For example, if Paramount wants to keep on making Transformers movies, it totally can. It just means that Hasbro won't put any money into them. Now it's up to Paramount to, fill up that gap. Which means that making movies are now more risky, and they actually really do need to make sure they do good in theaters. Because the way it worked before is that, Hasbro put some money, Paramount put some money, other companies put some money, and bam, a movie's born. That's how movies are made. And it also says that Hasbro will now prioritize video and card games. Which, I heard that, to be fair, Wizards of the Coast, like Dungeons and Dragons, I think it was Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons right now is actually doing pretty well. They're actually pretty successful when it comes to that. But video games is kind of surprising because, I don't know, Hasbro video games are like the lowest of the low. When was the last time we got a really good Transformers game? And yeah, I still do believe that Reactive will very much be a flop if it even comes out. Though at least this last part does match us with a current suspicion that the Cybertron games are coming back relatively soon. So at least that kind of adds up. And yes, by the way, I made that video earlier in the week. Go check that out if you want to for all the evidence and moves behind the scenes. And considering that the Transformers movie performances have been on a decline ever since Age of Extinction and Dark of the Moon, I think that Paramount will probably treat the GI.Joe crossover as the last straw. If that doesn't do well, no more Transformers movies, at least from Paramount. Now, this doesn't mean that we won't get any Transformers movies in the future if, the G.I.Joe movie does end up flopping, which I honestly think it will, because nobody really wants that. And it just means that we'll probably go a long time without a Transformers movie, kind of like how it happens for most movie franchises. Sometimes they go dormant until they eventually get rebooted or bought up by another studio and they make a reboot of it. So this doesn't really mean that it's game over for Transformers. Like, people are saying it's like, the end is nigh. Armageddon, the end of the world. This is the end of the Transformers franchise in general. No, it's not. There are other franchises out there that are in a much worse state and they're able to keep on going to this day. This doesn't mean the Transformers franchise is done, like far from it in all honesty. It's just like one of those, low periods. Like, every franchise goes through it, but something I really do want to highlight is TF Hype Guy's little statement on the matter, because I think he actually does make some really good points, and I kind of want to reiterate what he says. Again, TF Hype Guy is a friend of the channel, really like that guy, go follow him on Twitter. But now I'm just gonna read what he says. Hasbro co-funds these movies with Paramount and New Line Cinema. Whilst yes, this isn't good news, it's also not the worst. This simply means Paramount will have to try harder for these films. There's no safety net of Hasbro's split of the budget anymore. If they make a film and market it poorly, or if it's bad and doesn't do well, it's now entirely on Paramount. There's not going to be a lot more risk involved with these films to Paramount, so this will definitely disincentivize them to make these films, but it doesn't mean chances are zero. Best case scenario, they continue making Hasbro IP films but put major effort into marketing and creation of the film. Worst case scenario, they give up. Given the likely buyout of Paramount, I sincerely believe the first one is more likely, as the new studio heads will want to make something of themselves with their new properties. And actually, I completely agree with that statement. This is like a double-edged sword. Yeah, it's bad, I know that sounds bad, but at the same time, this kind of also forces Paramount to actually put effort into these movies and not just release some slop, which that's kind of what they've been doing for the last, I don't know, 3 movies. Even Bumblebee to some extent suffer from like, indecisiveness into leadership, not knowing if it's gonna be a reboot or a prequel or whatever. And tons of wasted CGI on deleted scenes. And oh my god, don't even get me started with Rise of the Beast. That movie, the amount of money wasted on deleted content is just astronomical. Also, like, I know the news are pretty disappointing, but before we go on, something that's not disappointing? That's right, today's art shoutout. I want to give an art shout out to Kedo here, who made this TF1 Megatron painting, which looks sick. Honestly, I don't get much painting artwork in the art section, so I'm glad to finally get some. This looks great. And also, reminder, I'm selling Transformers figures on eBay, so if you guys are interested in buying any of them, link to the Google Drive with the links to the eBay sellings are gonna be in the description down below. Don't worry, Drift, we'll get you a home, I promise. And also, before we end this quick shill section, I want to say that on Friday I'm gonna be playing Transformers Photo Cybertron blinded. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna be playing it relying on only my sense of ears and touch. So that's gonna be fun. I don't know how well or how badly that's gonna go, but we're gonna try it anyways. Last time I did Transformers melee only, but now we're doing Transformers sound only. Yeah, that's gonna be funny. Also, shout out to all the people who joined me for Friday's live stream. That was fun. Here's a little clip from that. These dudes are on my ass.
I see you, Mr.
By the way, when you guys join, feel free to clip anything from my live stream. Any funny moments will do, and I'll shout them out in my videos. Anyways, that's enough shilling. Back to the video. And since Paramount's gonna get buyout by, whatever other company, because Paramount is currently not in a good financial state, I don't really think this is the end for the Transformers movies. I do think that, at best, worst case scenario, we get a hiatus. Like, maybe we get the GI.Joe crossover, if that's even still happening, because, again, we're still not sure if that's even still happening, especially after these news. I frankly think it is, just because they're already working on a script and stuff. I mean, it could still get scrapped, who knows, but I don't know. I feel like they already put some money into it, and they're currently actively working on it. But I feel like depending on the results of that, we are gonna get more, or we probably won't get any more Transformers movies, at least for a while. Or until Paramount gets buy up or some other company and they actually decide to pick up the torch and probably just reboot the whole thing, which is honestly for the best, because I'll tell you, to this day, when I talk to some of my friends who are not Transformers fans in real life, most of them don't even know that Rise of the Beast and the Bumblebee movie are reboots. As far as they are aware, they're still part of the Michael Bay universe. And that's, whole different other can of worms, talking about Paramount and I almost said Last Events, Lorenzo's horrible leadership when it comes to making these movies. But then again, what do I expect from the producer of Madam Web? So, yeah, I don't think this is Joburn. I think people are really exaggerating when it comes to this point. It's not good. The news are not good. It's really not good. Like, we're probably gonna go, like, maybe 5 to 6 years without a Transformers movie, which will be kind of tragic, but at the same time, I've been saying for a long time that this is probably necessary. And what do I mean by this? Well, I feel like the Transformers movies have kind of, run its course. People and even the studio itself seem to be undecisive if there's actually a prequel or a reboot. And, it's kind of a mess at this point. The best thing you can do is reboot it, and I think what they should do is just, give the movies time to rest. Let them be missed. And once they are, actually release the movies again. And once the movies are missed, then you do a reboot. Because too much of something is gonna get people burned out. I think all this is a pretty burned out with Transformers, especially due to the whole messiness of like the universe and stuff. And their inability to just say, yes, this is a reboot, by the way. It's so confusing and it's so messy that, I do feel like audiences need a break from it before eventually getting back to it. But yeah, this is probably not the news you wanted to hear, but unfortunately it's just the reality of things. And the best we can do is just acknowledge that reality and move forward with it. So, I think this means Transformers 2 is not happening, as ridiculous as that title is, since TF1 flopped at the box office, especially in comparison to the Wild Robot, which actually did really good. And before you say, yes, it did well on Paramount Plus, that doesn't really mean much, honestly. It doesn't really mean much. Paramount Plus subscriptions are worth way less than box office performance, so I wouldn't count that as a big W. It's a small W, but not a big one. And as for the G.I.Joe movie, like I said, it all really depends on how far into development they are. Because if they're already, pretty far into development with a done script and they're just working on, directors and casting and that kind of stuff, then I could see them actually moving forward with that. But if they're still in the early stages, I could still see them scrapping them just to save some money. But I actually have to disagree with the high guy here. He thinks that the G.I.Joe crossover is not happening anymore. And this is gonna sound wild, but I honestly think it's happening. Which is weird, because he's so pro G.I.Joe and I'm so anti G.I.Joe, and now we're kind of in opposite effects. Like, what happened to you, man? But yeah, I think Lorenzo's a little in too deep on that to just, pull out of that. So I am pretty confident that that's still happening. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. I know it's not the news you wanted to hear, and again, I'm sorry if I didn't crack that many jokes. It's just like, it's kind of sad news. I mean, it is sad news. I mean, there's not much I can do to lighten the mood. But it's the way things are. And honestly, I think this is for the best. Transformers movies need to be missed. And in all honesty, Hasbro has just been up after up after up. Not just with Transformers, but with Power Rangers, Dungeons and Dragons. And I don't know, Hasbro just seems very incompetent as of late, They're not able to make very engaging series or video games. The total line is pretty alright, so far. I mean, I don't know about the Earthspark total line, but I like Legacy. I thought it was good. So as a business, changing gears like this, I think it's appropriate. However, I don't want to leave you without hope. So before I go, I'm going to leave you this message. And this is from TF Hype Guy, who basically commented this on his Twitter. He said, I have a feeling Transformers will go into another period of change. It happened after G2. The brand was irrelevant and needed a massive shakeup. Beast Wars saved the brand and was that shakeup. Things will slow down dramatically and eventually there will be another big thing. Hopefully it won't take too long. But we definitely need time to just recover and slow down. And I agree. I think he feels the same way I do. We need time to slow down, let the movies be missed, let Transformers, take a bit of a backseat, change things around, and actually strike. Because that's what happening with the comics right now. The comics, for the longest time were kind of just there and people didn't really care too much about them. I mean, people like the DW universe, but that kind of fizzled out over time. But the Skybound comics took a drastic change. I mean, frick, they killed off Bumblebee. Spoilers. And now they're getting awards. They're constantly outselling DC and Marvel. I know the situation is not good, and change, it's always painful. But honestly, this is exactly what we need. It's this kind of, weird near-death situation to shake things up and make things great again. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video and pretty much my thoughts on all this. What do you think this means for the future of the Transformers movies? Do you think we're still getting the G.I.Joe crossover? Do you think this means that TF2 is cancelled? I personally think TF2 is cancelled. I don't think it's gonna happen. The G.I.Joe crossover is pretty 50-50 at the moment. I personally think it's gonna happen. I just don't see them not doing it. And as for the future of the movies, the future is very uncertain, and it honestly all really depends on Paramount and what happens to that company going forward. If they get buyout or if they decide that Transformers movies are still worth pursuing. But yeah, the future is very uncertain, and all we can do right now is wait and see and hope for the best. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do the annoying YouTuber stuff that the algorithm likes so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, guys. Anyways, guys, before we go, shout out to our incredible sex tier Patreons: Steve Martin, Primeburst 611, Inferno 65, Winslow Lopes Hightower, Scout, Crowley 666, Silverman, King Sparta, Super Sailor Formers Hedgehog, Xavier the God, Stitch Productions, Scrub Lordo, and Predaking Hunter Plays. And an equally great shout out to our channel members: Shin Leviathan Dragon, TF Cypher, and Laser Sin. Thank you guys so much for donating, it's much appreciated. Link to my Patreon and channel membership will be in the description down below. Consider donating because you get a few perks and see some videos early, even collab with me in some cases, the list goes on. But anyways guys, thank you for your support, helps to keep the channel going, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay safe guys!